Now, we're going to start with a big meeting between Keir Starmer and the French President Emmanuel Macron yesterday. They announced their migrant deal. They're the same height, by the way. They announced their migrant deal, which Starmer described as groundbreaking. We will come on to the sort of nuts and bolts of that and discuss it. But here's the thing we want to start with. Before wrapping up his state visit, Macron couldn't help but have a pop at Brexit.
We must, above all, adapt the response to Brexit. It's that we sold a lie to the British people, which is the problem with Europe. Many people in your country explained that Brexit would make it possible to fight more effectively against illegal immigration. But it's, in fact, since Brexit that the UK has no migratory agreement with the EU.
Well, is he right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is a result of Brexit?
Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. And we've gone on and on and on about the financial destruction that we have caused ourselves in the last few years. You know, we've got, you look at any financial institution who has undertaken research and they will tell you that we are losing annually billions in terms of turnover. Bloomberg are suggesting that it's an annual loss of 100 billion. I don't even know what 1 billion looks like. 100 billion
in the economy.
In the economy,
okay.
Exactly. You know, we're losing investment. We are tying ourselves up in red tape. All of these things that we were told would disappear and would be made easy.
People didn't want to be run by a parliament full of people they didn't elect. That's kind of basic, isn't it?
Well, they did elect them if they bothered to turn up to vote.
Well, no, they didn't elect. They didn't elect Croatian MEPs.
Yeah, and Europe was run by commissioners. It wasn't run by electorate.
But we cut off our nose to spite our face. That's the Brexit idea.
No, I'm sorry. I was all for Brexit. And Macron stands there. I mean, the way he was greeting this country like he was king of Europe. And Starmer, I've never seen a more vacillating or grovelling Prime Minister of this country who embarrasses me in the way he was gripping, Macron's hand and laying out the red carpet for him, like, you're the king and I'm just your little vassal in charge of this little island off Europe. And all the figures, Paula, that you've just come out with, they just don't add up because...
Well, they're not my figures, Mike. They're financial institutions.
And hang on.
And I've quoted Bloomberg. If you want to argue with
I am arguing.
Respected institution like Bloomberg.
I am arguing. People often quote the OBR prediction that we lost 4% of GDP. That was a projected model. It was never a factual statement. And the point is...
We're not, as a country, we're not in a happy place.
Yeah, well, we're not, but that's because of a year of Starmer. Because as you will have noticed this morning...
Not 14
excuse me.
This
morning, the economy of this country shrank 0.1% in the latest figures. So that's gone down.
Well, that could be Brexit. That could be what Paul is saying.
It's nothing to do with Brexit. Brexit would have worked if that man Macron hadn't worked for the last 8 years to make sure it didn't work, because he did not want us to leave Europe, because we were a powerful economy. And before the election, when Starmer got in, we were the most powerful economy in Europe and the second most powerful in the G7. So how on earth could we have damaged ourselves so badly if we were doing better than anybody else?
There we are,
You
Paula.
were wrong. Quite simply, because Brexit was wrong.
No, Brexit didn't damage us.
Thing to do.
Oh,
and the fact that we are still blaming the person over there instead of taking responsibility.
I am blaming the person over there.
Yeah, instead of taking responsibility for a complete and utter self-sabotaging move is beyond me.
Well,
is half of the country... Paula, what about this for a thought? That, OK, the Brexiteers didn't factor in that Europe isn't just a blob, it would take revenge. And they waterboarded us. OK, well, you say exactly. That suggests Paula's right. They took revenge. We lost out. But they also showed us why we shouldn't have been in there in the first place. Because they're fundamentally hostile.
Absolutely hostile.
I'm not buying the whole revenge. Look, you are negotiating a divorce. What did you expect was going to happen? You are not only are you negotiating a divorce from one partner, you are negotiating a divorce from a number of partners. What did you think was going to happen? Did you think that you were going to walk away with the best deal?
No.
Or did you think, as in any negotiation, that you were going to have to take some of the bad along with the good?
No, I thought.
But the reality is, we were so woefully unprepared for our negotiation that when we did go to the table, and do you remember that horrific scene where and I forget who was negotiating?
Okay, I'll tell you.
Yes.
Michel Barnier had a pile of notes that high, and David Davis, our negotiator, walked in just with his empty glasses case.
Yeah. I mean, and that to me just
that was it.
Summed up how woefully
But
prepared
we thought we were going to do an ideological negotiation where which was just basically to say, give us a free trade deal and we're gone.
No, what we thought.
I tell you what we thought.
Yeah.
We thought that we would do what we always think is going to happen, that we are somehow this great nation that everyone must still bow down and kowtow to. And that did not happen.
That's
and
the
so
problem.
We are now shocked at that.
That's the problem.
How dare the European Union say no to us?
More than half of this country realised we are a great nation. We will not be kowtowed to Europe and we want to run it on our own. We expected the Europeans to be intelligent, civilised and grown up about it, instead of which they turned round, and Macron was the leader of this, and said, we've got to teach the UK a lesson, because if they get away with leaving, other countries...
Yeah, but the Brexiteers should have factored that in.
Of course they should.
Yes, they should have said, look, we may be in the situation where France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, what revenge?
Yes.
They didn't seem to think that was going to happen.
I totally agree. It was handled badly, but the principle of Brexit is that we should have been allowed to be an independent country and not punished time and time again with petty things like stopping UK tourists going into France to have their passport stamped when everybody else sails through. It was outrageous. They're barbarians.
Paula.
How are you enjoying that independence now?
I'm enjoying the independence
how are you enjoying
in the
that?
UK.
And set out exactly how has your life changed for the better since Brexit?
Well, let me tell you this.
I've tried to get through Dover, and it was 7.5 hours.
And whose fault was that?
Oh,
that's the French fault.
I see. Of course it is.
Hang on, excuse me. On the other side of the English Channel is France.
Right.
So they're stopping us getting in a civilised fashion.
Right.
It's the French who hate us for coming out of their little sclerotic socialist club and trying to stand on our own two feet.
I thought you were a Thatcherite.
I'm a Thatcherite.
And what was Thatcher's position?
She would have voted Brexit.
Yeah, exactly.
Would she?
Thatcher wanted to develop it as an economic bloc, not a political bloc.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, obviously we can't be sure, but that's.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I appreciate she got us in because she saw it as a business thing.
Exactly.
But then she lost her rag over it because she saw it becoming political.
And went and got us a refund, which is what we needed to do when we came out. We should have got a refund. We shouldn't have been paying them.
And
outrageous.